Well, look, we got Mr. Chad Jacobson from the Texas Cornhole League on this episode of The Sticky Side. I'm Mike. That's Rob. And Chad, I just want to say thanks, man, for joining us on The Sticky Side. You're our first TCL guy on the show.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all so much for having me. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, you're not just a TCL guy. You are the TCL guy. Yeah.
One of the guys.
But, I mean, back in the early days of the TCL, you were pretty much at the forefront, right?
Yeah, we've been doing all the money. Now. Do what?
He's the one with all the money.
No, that's my wife with all the
money. Yeah. So,
awesome.
Hey, man, for people that don't know you, because there's a lot of new people in the game, man, playing in all these other organizations. Give everybody a brief rundown on your bio, man. Like, how did you start the TCL? Why did you start the TCL?
Texas Cornhole League got started back in 2009. A good buddy of mine wanted to offer a tournament to the high school coaches. So we did the first weekend that school was out and ran a tournament for coaches. It was $30, backyards, all you could drink. I mean, cornhole and barbecue. You mean the three best things in Texas, barbecue, beer, and bags. And 2 kegs in, we realized an hour in that we didn't have enough kegs. And so we actually had the local big honcho for the distributing company. He called in a favor and they brought the 18-wheeler full of beer and dropped off 4 more kegs for us. And so we had a good time. It was a lot of fun. And then ran that event and we were just going to do it as an annual deal. And my brother was in college at the time around Christmas and asked me to host a tournament. So we did one, started it. It went well. 81 teams, had a blast. Back then, the day that was, unheard of to kind of do those things. And from there, me and my buddy won that tournament. They're like, oh, you only won because you played on your boards, your bags, and all this and that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start a league. And so started the Texas Cornhole League. We partnered with ACO and did a bunch of stuff with them, with Eric and Frank and those guys. We went out to the World Championships, saw all the legendary matches from back in the day, and kind of just started something. And the reason why TCL kind of formed is we use a different format than a lot of other people use in the country. Is we have a tier system, and it's not just breaking it into advanced, competitive, social, and beginner. Where it breaks you in is based on your letter, an A, B, C, or D, or E. But the cool thing is that regional directors, if say they want to host a B tournament, well, an A player can play with a C player to equal a B. And so what that enabled us to do as we grew in Texas was not everybody played with the same player. And so it kind of just started the whole deal. And from there, we've got over 40 different regions now. We're in multiple states. We're growing, having fun. Yes, we're Texas Cornhole League, but we also go by TCL because we love our people that play up in Oklahoma, Louisiana, New Mexico, and Arkansas that come to all the TCL events. Even in a couple of weeks, we'll be going to Shreveport for a signature series with 800 players at it and stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at, man. TCL, fast forward, year 12.
Wow. I mean, when I first met you guys, it was just Texas and I think Oklahoma would come down for some events. And now you guys are, dare I say, one of the big 3. Well, you've always been one of the big 3. I think y'all were actually bigger than the ACL a few years back. I think
they were bigger than everybody.
Yeah,
a few years back. Back in 2015, they were the biggest league in the nation.
Wow!
They had paid members over 16 or 18,000 paid members. That doesn't even count the members that aren't. They were huge.
Yeah, and TCL has definitely grown. And I credit a lot of that to, our local regional directors all over the states that help us run the events, but also everyone knows, Scoreholio has been great for the game. And we've kind of embraced Scoreholio, started using it. I use the calculator all the time to figure out time of how I can maximize the number of players versus number of courts, where I can put them to kind of keep everyone on time, where we're going to kind of do it. We went to a round robin. in our tournaments now. So whenever you play, you're round robin, then you go to 3 brackets and multiple divisions, and it's just kind of helped us grow. And I mean, we're barely scratching the surface of where we're going to be in the next couple of years.
Man, I tell you, sometimes Facebook will pop these memories up, and right recently, it's been a lot of like, it was like maybe last week or the week before, I was getting a lot of Texas Cornhole League memories, and I was remembering to myself, those were some of the best cornhole tournaments I've ever played. Not just the tournament itself, but the party atmosphere.
Yeah.
There was a time where I was going to Texas 2-3 times a year. I mean, I made pro status in the TCL in, was it 15 or 16? It was one of those years.
Back whenever Shane Wayne would bring in for every single tournament, you know what I mean? Michael Bird might as well have been a Texas resident that year. It was awesome.
Well, if you remember, we were supposed to move to Texas, and you already had me like on a Ryder Cup team.
I already had you on a Ryder Cup team, man. I already picked you out a house near me. You know, my wife was going to help you buy the house. I mean, we had you all worked out. You know, maybe on that Fort Worth region Ryder Cup team. Because recruiting is huge when you get ready for Ryder Cup, man. That is by far my favorite event of the year. It's the most work. It's more work than all of our other tournaments combined, but it's one of my favorite events to run. But I mean, one of my favorite memories is you coming in town, man. Always a good time, back at O'Shea's and all the different places we played tournaments at. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. What's the name of the bar where you guys, it's pretty much
Mule Barn.
The Mule Barn. Yeah, man.
Hey, have you seen the pictures of that place recently?
I have not. No.
Man, I'll have to send you some pictures. We have renovated that thing, man. It looks awesome. A lot of the venues here in Texas and all over the country for that matter, man. You've seen, the backyard pictures. You've seen the pictures of bars that have renovated, and that's a tribute to cornhole itself. And where we've all gone with the sport is that it's just not being played out in the grass fields or the dirt or the backyard. These places are really built for this stuff. And so, we had to renovate the Mule Barn, and I love it, man. It's great there.
Rob, you got to see this place, man. I remember it as, it's kind of like the ACL's got their headquarters. So this is like the TCL headquarters, and they've got all these banners hanging along the ceiling of all the winners, past TCL champions. Oh, you still got it up there like that, Chad? Or
well, we kind of took a bunch of those banners have fallen down just during renovations, and 12 years old.
Yeah.
But we're going to go back, and we're going to put back up all the Fort Worth winners that have won and do it that way, that the Mule Barn will end up being the Fort Worth region. And that's where, sometimes running TCL, I kind of do a disservice to my region. So I've been lucky enough this year to have Jeremy O'Connell and Eddie Adams help me run the Fort Worth region. And they've kind of revitalized our region because I spend so much time on TCL. Sometimes I, forget about Fort Worth region sometimes. And so we really need to kind of focus and grow that as well.
I'm looking at this year's Ryder Cup picture. My God.
We had
how many people is this?
Man, we had over 1,600 players. We were in 2 floors of the convention center. We had over 120 sets of boards. It was awesome. It was epic. It was there. We could have had another 400 players if we had the space. So we're already starting to search for a bigger and better space for that event. We love Irving. We love the convention center there. Just Ryder Cup needs 160 to 200 courts, and that's where it's at. And I want to eventually go back. I know we had you. I think you came out for the one time we did the national one. Mm-hmm. We want to eventually get to where we host the national one again. Now I think we're back in that phase that I think people will really embrace it this time. Mm-hmm. And we can really kind of do to where we have multiple divisions and have a Texas and have a North Carolina and have a California and have a Colorado and Ohio and Kentucky and Florida and Mississippi and all of them, man. It'd be great.
That was one of the funnest times I've ever had in cornhole, man.
There is nothing better than that. We now switched from team 10 to team 8, but team 8, man, when you just throw one bag, it's not like the Crew Cup where you get 2 bags. It's one bag, man. It's one bag per round, and that's all you get to throw, and it's fun. It's great.
No, that was great. I remember the crew match, man. You only get that one bag. Was it 2 bags back then?
No, it was one bag.
One bag. You only get the one bag. So if you dust that bag off on the floor, that's it, man. And you feel so terrible. You feel so bad that you let your team
you let
down,
everybody
man.
down. You let everybody down. It's just not there, man. It's a wild adventure, man. And so, yeah, it's a fun event. And some of that, and I'm excited for Shreveport. We got Shreveport not this weekend, but the next weekend. We'll be out there at the convention center. It is probably my favorite venue to go to right now. And the people out in Shreveport and Bossier are absolutely amazing. They welcome us with open arms. It's a fun atmosphere. The casinos, we do a pre-party at one of the casinos, which we love it out there. And, you know, it's awesome. Great venue, great stuff.
These numbers, man, you guys, the other organization seems like they aren't even coming close to your numbers you're putting up for like your Ryder Cup right here. I don't know, Rob, am I wrong? Like for Worlds, for ACL or ACO, are they coming close to 1,600 players?
They limit. So, you know, like the ACL limits to 256 per division. So, no, they won't get close to they won't get close to 1,600 just because of the way they limit it. Even
for the opens, they still like limit their numbers for opens and stuff. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, space. You know how space is for cornhole tournaments. They got to limit it to what they can handle. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and the
64 sets of boards and
yeah, you kind of get to it, and that's the beautiful thing about the calculator that Ben and them have with Scoreholio is that. Literally, I plugged it in based on, okay, I'm going to set up 70 courts, 100 courts, 120 courts, 150 courts. What are my numbers at? What does the venue cost at? I mean, what are we going to pay out? Where do we kind of get all this stuff at? What's security going to be? I mean, because you start talking, you know, 100 courts, you need over 50,000 square feet. 120 courts, you're getting close to 70,000 square feet. Well, it starts limiting the venues of where you can go and what you're doing. So, you know, and yes, you sometimes have to limit it of what you're doing. But it's based on the venues, it's based on the stuff. And, you know, that's when I tell people when you're coming out to these events, it's not about, you know, just coming to the event, you know, it's about embracing that venue and, you know, buying your beer or your Dr. Pepper or whatever you're going to drink that day, water even, and then getting your food from there instead of doing Grubhub or these different things, because a lot of these organizations, they base their cost on the venue based on food and beverage. And a lot of it is sliding scale. So we have to have certain numbers that we hit in order to do it. And we're really putting up a gamble. You know, I mean, it's one of those things that as an organization, if we pre-book the venues, a lot of them want deposits up front, you know, whether it's $10,000 up to $20,000. So if I'm going to book our 6 big events, I've got at minimum $60,000 up to $120,000 wrapped up that I cannot spend in capital for the business because I've got to hold it and secure my dates as everything is exploding and getting busy. It was great for those 2 years during COVID because no one was going anywhere. So they're like, okay, you don't need your deposit or we don't need this. It helped out. But now it's like, hey, we're booked out. You've got to book ahead of time. And you know what? We want $20,000 up front. And if you hit your food and beverage, we give you a refund. Well, I mean, as a small business owner, man, come up with $20,000 and don't see it for 6-8 months. It's kind of not very fun sometimes. Yeah, it does. But I mean, but the cool thing is that, you know, our players, you know, get it. You know what I mean? They are embracing it. We're doing all their stuff. And then, like you said, our event is not just cornhole. You mean, it's not like going to a golf tournament, you know what I mean, where you sit there. We are loud, we are talking trash, we are having fun, we're playing loud music. You mean, we are the basketball of cornhole. You mean the TCL, and that's what I love, man. We want the ruckus, we want to have the fun, and we want you to thrive, man. Some of my favorite times playing sports growing up was playing not home games but away games. And having the opposing crowd be yelling and screaming at you and trying to get in your head, and you're like, let's go, bring it on. And that's what I love about our crowd and the players that competed all weekend, or the parents that are there, or the spouses, or the other family members that are there watching. It's always fun to see them get loud and cheer, or for their region, or for their group of people that they're kind of playing with. It's a lot of fun. I love it.
I tell you, you mentioned Shane Wayne. I'm going to send a shout out to Shane Wayne right now. If you're listening to this, hope you're doing good. But Shane Wayne, he put a APB out on Facebook one day, and I can't remember how I got it, but he was looking for a partner, and I guess I was mentioned, and then he sent me a message, and I said, yeah, you fly me out, I'll come play with you. So he got me introduced to the Texas crowd, And I'm forever in his debt for that because those few years, it was a couple of years, that was the funnest time of my life playing cornhole. And I made lots of friends up there, went out to eat with a lot of you guys. I even went on vacation to Punta Cana with you guys.
Yes, that was a good time, wasn't it?
That was a blast. It was like 50 of us out there, right? We should actually do that again. I mean, what do you think, Rob? We should do that. Get a bunch of people up.
I'm in.
And, usually when you get a bunch of people like that together and you don't know some of them, you're going to be like, okay, some of these people are going to be a dick. You're not going to like some of them. That wasn't the case with this crowd. I liked everybody. These dudes brought Texas Cornhole League boards to the Dominican Republic, bro. We were out on the beach playing cornhole. It was awesome.
I remember that Todd Bridgman and I brought the boards on Southwest Airlines the whole entire way. We actually flew out to Baltimore, had to get them there. And then from Baltimore, then we went down. We had them in the same box going back and forth. They always open them up, always inspect them. Like, man, they're cornhole boards and bags and all this of that. And so a lot of fun. We're actually looking at doing a destination big tournament. One of my favorite places to go is Isla Mujeres, down off of Cancun. And I've been working with the locals down there for the last couple of years, securing an area on the beach so where we can do a big cornhole tournament down in Destination Cornhole. And so it'll be a fun event. Hopefully we can do it this next year.
Oh, that'll be awesome, man. Hell yeah. Let us know. Laura wants to get out to the Chad, you haven't met Laura, have you? You can see her on the Zoom. Laura's my producer / girlfriend. So
/ the beautiful Laura. That's what we like to call her. He always does, bro.
He does, man. Hey, man. He's an awesome dude, man. You got to watch Bird.
Greatest punter in all of the world.
Greatest punter.
Janikowski.
Oh, my God.
Better than the guy we had on. This dude can punt way deeper. That son of a bitch outkicks the coverage.
He's referring to we had an NFL punter on the podcast a couple of
Matt
episodes
Dodge.
away. Yeah.
Okay, that's
awesome. But yeah, she'd love to go to the Caribbean, wouldn't you, Laura? That'd be an awesome trip.
Yeah,
Great show, guys.
Look, I'm just trying to regain my thoughts here because I don't know where they were going with that earlier. I was like, I thought I knew whether if he was referring back to Punta Cana, but nothing. Oh,
so dumb.
Yeah, so dumb. Yeah, so like
my favorite TCL player, I call him Stuart Smalley. I had a hard time remember. Yeah. He's my absolute favorite TCL player. That dude talks more trash than Oscar the fucking Grouch, bro. That dude can talk trash to the end of the day. Unbelievable. I love that guy. One of my favorites.
Stuart is one of my favorite people. And if anybody really defines TCL, it's Stuart, man. Stuart is a diehard. He's a lot of fun. You mean, sometimes we have to rein Stuart in. We're like, oh my God, Stuart's in his way. But Foster is one of my most passionate people and really is there. And he just wants to have a good time. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he knows that it's the fun of the game and kind of doing all that stuff with that. And if he sees it as a weakness for you, he's going to ride you. You know what I mean? And he's going to show it. And that's his strategy. And it's awesome. And it's great. And, I love Stuart Foster. He's one of the greatest guys that, TCL's had around and stuff. So we love him.
I've seen him after you beat him. He'll still follow you to your next board to talk shit to you.
Oh, yeah.
After you beat him and he's out of the tournament,
Absolutely.
He will follow you to talk shit to you. I mean, like, get out. You're out. Beat it.
Yeah.
My first experience with all of the players was in Las Vegas, I think, in 2016.
Yep. I knew you
guys, Jason, and you guys brought I don't know, maybe it wasn't really that many. It was about 24, 25, I think, players. And it was just AJ Sims was in his infancy.
Great player.
And he was playing with Stuart's wife or girlfriend. I think that might have been
Christina Espinosa.
I think that's who he was playing with.
She is the goat of female players in TCL, man. She is. Right. She's done everything. She's awesome.
And she's better than
Veronica.
Veronica.
Play them.
Do what?
She's better than Veronica.
They're cousins now. That just doesn't go cornhole. That is a family battle right there. So,
Oh, wow.
you know what I mean? They've both done amazing things.
Mhm.
I think, I mean, they both, I mean, Veronica, I mean, player of the year a couple times and all this of that. Christina as well. They're both phenomenal players. But go back to your story about Stewart. I love this.
I had to play them, right? And
Okay.
you know how you guys squat up at both ends. And I was playing with a kind of local to me, but a Tifton, Georgia guy, Brent Smith. And we had to play AJ and her. And every time AJ makes a bag, of course, they're cheering. I don't know anybody else except Stewart and Jason. I know Jason. I don't really know AJ, and I don't really know. Would you say Christina? Is it?
Tina.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know them, right?
Yeah.
So he makes a bag, they cheer. I make a bag, nothing. He makes a bag, they cheer. I make a bag. Finally, I'm like, hey, cheer for me too. We end up whooping them, right? We got lucky. I'm not gonna lie, we got lucky. We beat them. And you know, AJ, he was just as fiery as he is today. He says, "I'll play you in singles right now." I said, "I'm sorry, bro. I got another game." But that was my first experience with the way y'all squatted up at both ends of the boards and just cheered for your people, and we're just all. And I made some friends because I was drinking bourbon and I was talking trash. It was 9 a.m. and I was talking trash and having fun right back with them. So by the end of the match, they were cheering for me too. So it was fun. And I was able to, gain some friends, and it was just an incredible time. So I loved it.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I mean, that's one of the cool things is now you see the regions, and we really support all the regions, and it's people, going and they're getting with their group and they're following each other around and they're supporting each other, and you really kind of see that camaraderie come out, and that's a lot of fun with our events and stuff. So, I mean, I really, it's what it happens.
There was one of your signature series events I played in, and you want to talk about the bad guy, Rob. Like, I was a heel, bro. I was a heel.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every bag I threw was pretty much booed. But
You're a Tar Heel?
No, hell no, Chad. I would cut this line right now. But I was playing Travis Welch. It was a singles match, and I was playing Travis. And Travis is a great guy, man. Love him and his wife Amber, and but I was playing him in singles, and every bag he threw was like Rob said, man, he was being cheered, especially if it went in the hole. If he got a big Tex on me, which a big Tex is a 4-bagger in TCL language, the crowd went crazy, and every time I scored on him, it was just grunts and groans, and that was one of my biggest wins. No, I beat Travis in the Ryder Cup in the singles match.
Okay.
And I beat him in that one. I think I beat him in singles in another signature series. But I remember that. And I remember playing Stewart, me and Shane Wayne in doubles in the hotel lobby and one of your signature series. And they got us. But, man, me and Shane threw his ass off that game. And it was probably almost midnight when that game was being played. And we were all dead, man, after that. But, yeah, that's some good memories, man.
It's good stuff, man.
Chad, how about the time I sent Jamie Graham and Noah Wooten down to one of your signature series to play in there? And Jesus, that was when they were the goat, the shepherd, and then they all were introduced to Jesus. And we've had Jesus on our podcast. That's what I call Eddie.
Grindersleeve.
Eddie got the moniker of Jesus because he destroyed the shepherd. He destroyed the goat. So, I mean, who's better than that, right? So he got the moniker of Jesus that day. Yes, he was the only one. He was the only one who had anything for those guys.
That was actually down in Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was down in Houston.
Awesome.
That was a good event. One of my favorite stories about that event is my son, our third child, he was able to go with me to that event. And so it was a lot of fun having him there at that event and kind of doing it, and him getting to see all the experience of what goes into running the events, doing everything. It's a lot of fun, when you get to share all those memories and stuff. But Eddie is a phenomenal player, and knowing them coming down, we're great. You mean, and then we love having people from out of state. It's just one of those things that now, our states, TCL, we really, focus on the players in our states and the experiences of there. And with the pro division now, it's less that they need to come do that. They need to play in the pro division. They need to do all their stuff. We'd love to, have more of that pro stuff. You know what I mean? I really see that, and I know that everyone thinks there's a big deal with ACL, TCL, and all this stuff of that. What Stacy's done with the pro division is phenomenal, and it's great. It doesn't work for us. We focus on that college level, high school level, cornhole deal with the ruckus and the deal. And we encourage our pro players to go play, our top-notch players to go play ACL. What I'd love to see is the ACL Pro Tour be more like Hoop It Up. And I don't know if y'all remember that back in the day, but
sure.
Hoop It Up and them going on a tour and sending players and going to give it to different groups, I think is really the key of where it needs to be, because, we'd love to host one big event that's a TCL event and have the ACL Pro Division on top of our TCL tournament that we'd run that weekend and all those things. And so there's room for everybody in the game, you know what I mean? And, we chose to go a different route. And a lot of it is because of our tier rankings. Because at the beginning level, at the regional level and the local level, we want people to play with different people. I don't always want to play with every single game with Rob. And I want people to play with different people. And that's what this whole thing is about, is community and playing with different people. And, you get to have fun. And the cool thing is that if you play in a BC tournament, you could play with your girlfriend, Michael, you know what I mean? And you can play in that BC tournament and do it. Where if it's an open division, you may not want to play with Rob, you may want to play with me, you know what I mean? But if it's that B tournament, you may want to play with Rob, that competitive player, So you can always have a good time with that.
Fuck. What the fuck?
Hey, for people that don't know, can you break that down? What's that system? What's the ABC system?
Yeah, so what it is literally, I took it from softball. So growing up playing slow pitch softball, doing all stuff of that, the different.
You get one 4-bagger in the A division. That's it.
Yeah,
one 4-bagger.
Absolutely.
After that, you're out.
Yeah. So it's there's obviously the top level is a pro player, and then under there is an A player, and then a B player, C player, D player, and then we save the E player. Really, the only person that's really an E player is when we do charity events and different things like that. Yeah.
Just Rob.
So pretty much, to break it all down for you, when you look at it, an E player is someone that probably jumps up and down when they throw one in the hole. That's a beginner. That's a true beginner. If they jump up and down when they get in the hole, they're really an E player. Your social players, your D players, if they happen to get 4 in the hole, they're jumping up and down, all excited about it, having a good time and all that stuff. When you're a C player, a competitive player, it's one of those things that you're going to count the number of times that you get a big text, which is 4 in the hole. And you're going to kind of know the stuff, and you know how to do every shot, but you may not have, perfected them and done all that stuff. And then your advanced player, your B player, is more of your player that's really challenging, but still has those frames that maybe one off and stuff like that. And your A player is your top-notch player. So to break it all down, you can have different tournaments. An open tournament, anybody can play with anybody. If it is a B tournament, an A has to play with a C to equal a B, or 2 B players can play together. And so it really allows that regional director, if they're opening up a new area in a new town, they can go and say, hey, real friendly, real nice. Hey, we're going to run a C tournament or a CD tournament. Well, they're not saying A players that you can't play. They're just saying, hey, if you want to play, you got to go get a beginner player in order to play. And it allows them still an opportunity, but it evens up the field as they grow, and it allows them different weeks throughout the month to offer different tournaments. One weekend it could be a D tournament. One weekend it could be a BC. The next weekend it could be, okay, we're going to run an open and a C tournament the same night. And so it allows a lot more flexibility for those regional directors.
Now, is that hard to keep up with? Is it hard to figure out who is a C player, who's a D player? Is this guy now, is this E player eligible to become a D, or is he jumping straight to C? How does that work?
Yeah, back in the day, Bird, back whenever you were playing, it was very eye test, we could tell, we knew, and some of that. Now it's grown so much, and there's regions, and there's players that I don't know that are really good. And that's where Scorholio's come in and done an amazing job. But where I'd love to see, and Ben will know this, I tell him all the time that, I mean, I love their SPR and I love the PPR and some of that, but what I'd love to see is that you have a global SPR that is more like your overall record. And then you have a season or a league SPR that is more geared for your conference. Just like in all sports, when you have a conference record and you have a overall record. Well, I'd love to see a conference SPR because, sometimes you can kind of manipulate those SPRs by going in your backyard playing, by going doing this. Where if I know if it's a sanctioned tournament, this is your SPR, well, it's very quickly, easily to rank you of how you're doing in your PPR. When you look at your PPR, it kind of goes into one of those things. I can't necessarily tell you that you are a top-notch player with your PPR, but I can tell you you're not a social player if you're throwing a 7 or an 8. You mean? Because there's so much more strategy when you get into being a more competitive player at the bigger levels. I may wash a 6, but that's a really good round based on how it goes. But if you're washing 7s and 8s and averaging a 7, you're not a social player. Get out of social. Go playing competitive. And in my opinion, that competitive division needs to be the largest division in cornhole, to where you start off in social, then you go to competitive, and then that's where the money kind of starts out. And people ask me all the time, well, there's more people in social. There should be more money in social. I'm like, well, there's more people that play minor league baseball in single A ball than double A ball. And there's more people play double A than triple A. There's more people play triple A than majors. But where's the money at? It's at the freaking major level. You know what I mean? And the money can be there, but it's just not as much to entice people to play up to the level of the competition. Because here's the deal. In the spirit of everything that we got going on, we all have full-time jobs pretty much. There may be a handful of cornhole players that aren't there, and hopefully it'll end up being there. But I don't think it is right now. So the key is right now is that where you go with all this stuff is that you want to be competitive games. I don't want to walk up and know that I'm going to lose this person 21-0. And I don't want to know that I'm going to beat that person 21-0. It's no fun. I want a competitive game, and that's where it's at.
Where do you see the TCL in the future? Do you see you guys being on cable television, competing with like the ACL? Is that what you want? Is that what you're looking for?
No, I mean, I have no desire to go to the national level right now. I mean, I've got 4 kids. Our oldest is out of college now. She started her real estate career with my wife. Number 2 is a senior in high school. 3 and 4 in 6th grade and 5th grade. You mean I'm about to do middle school sports, high school sports.
Wow.
And you mean I'm busy with all that stuff. And I've got a great group of people that help me run TCL and how we do that. And I really want to focus on this conference and this deal, but I'm very passionate on the tier levels and how it needs to be run, because I think that at those levels, it is what is growing the game, and it's what's growing TCL. And I'd love to see other conferences go to this level of these tiers, because I think that the growth is there. And I applaud what the ACL has done with the pro level. I applaud what the ACO has done. You mean Eric Heinerman is one of the smartest people in cornhole I know. And so, I mean, the different organizations are great and all this stuff with that. It's just what works for us is how we do it. And so I want to continue to grow our area and focus on us.
You know, with 3 big leagues like the ACL, the ACO, and the TCL, all of them are selling out events. All of you guys. I mean, you're putting up crazy numbers. So I don't think necessarily having 3 competing, and, you know, people say they're not competing, but, you know, it's actually helping each other, you know. Because people will see ACL on ESPN, they'll Google cornhole, and then, you know, TCL will pop up, ACO will pop up. You know, and the bag craze, oh, my God. So, Chad, like, I took 3 years off, man. I took 3 years off. When I left, there was beer belly bags, there was Reynolds bags, and there was probably –
How we were there, too.
The board men, of course. But what else? There was another big one. The ACO had just started this thing where they were implementing 4 bags for each tournament. It was Reynolds, beer belly. Local?
No, they weren't. They weren't.
It was like a Vipers or something.
No.
Well, anyway, there was only like 4 or 5 different brands.
Local is one of the
that was the ACO.
Well, you also had
BG
back in the day.
Yeah, B and BG. But now there's like 30 plus bag manufacturers. It's crazy.
80.
80?
It's like 80.
There's closer to 300 different bag manufacturers at least.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I think there's 89 or something that are sanctioned, that are pro stamped.
So
Well,
let's talk about the TCL stamp. So TCL has over 63 different series of bags made by 24 different manufacturers. And so everyone always says, that the bags are all made by TCL. They're not, man. Our bags are, from a lot of the different manufacturers out there, and it's great. And, I remember whenever we talked about doing the co-branded bags, and we did Boardman and all this stuff with that. I mean, you were one of the best bags out there, one of the best marketing companies whenever Cornhole kind of took its deal is your logo and all that stuff. And we kind of went to the co-branded bag for a couple of reasons. One, it allowed it allowed us to know that a bag was good, and we didn't have to measure bags and do all that stuff and do everything like that, which was great. And two, it offset our cost of having to, as we grew, to be able to do some things to where we could go buy wholesale. So we buy all of our bags wholesale, and then we sell them retail. Our bags are still a lot cheaper than a lot of other companies that are out there producing bags, because we buy in bulk. We're not just placing an order for 10 sets. We're placing an order for 50, 100, 200 sets of bags at a time. And so we buy in bulk, and then we turn around and sell retail. And so we've offered it to our players, which has enabled us to offset a lot of costs that we do to run our tournaments and our things like that.
So you've got other companies like who makes some of your best bags, most popular bags?
And we have a lot. Throwing Stones is one of the company that makes our Yeti, our Kraken, Medusa, Phoenix, all this of that. We have Center Cornhole that makes, quite a few bags. We've got a bunch of manufacturers, Big D. We've got the Bag Brokers. There's countless. We have over 24 different manufacturers. And we have people hitting us up all the time wanting to get inside TCL. Our store right now, if you go on there, it's like going to Foot Locker to go buy bags. It's not going to Nike or Under Armour to buy bags. It's like going to Foot Locker with all the different versions and all the different types of bags we have. And really, we kind of took it upon ourselves. Back in the day, we just branded everything, oh, it's a TCL bag. And it was good and bad. It was good because we had the ability to kind of design and kind of do some things, but it was bad because everyone thought that we made the bags. And I've never produced or sewn a bag myself. But I worked connections and work what is best, and that is the wholesale market of doing this thing. And so really this year we've kind of gone to where we want the manufacturers to put their logo on the bags, and it's really helped out. I think it's helped the ACL out with what they're doing with their logo and their stuff. And in the beginning of stages, we used to pay to have our bags approved with ACL, and we wish we could still do that to this day, because I think that our two leagues are two totally different things. Theirs is about the pro market. Ours is about the amateur, the college and the high school levels is what I really say, in cornhole. And so I think we can work together. I don't know why we don't and stuff. So.
Well, at one point, didn't ACL and TCL work together a few years back?
We did, and we had a differences of opinions. They didn't want us to run the tiers. We wanted to run the tiers, and we want to have stamp bags, and they didn't want us to have stamp bags. And so, It's kind of is what it is. And we kind of said, you know what, we're not going away from the co-branded bags, because we knew that was our way to get to the next level, as we had to get venue spaces that cost more. We had to have that money to be able to do it and to hire people to help us out. And two, the tier rankings is what we think is the lifeblood of TCL and how we do things.
And it seems like both business models are working fine for you both. So.
They are. You gotta love. What they're doing with being on TV and all the pro players. I literally love whenever I hear stories of the old guys, playing and stuff like that, and be like, man, I've talked to my son. They're like, do you know him? I'm like, I do. I actually played with him. I've hung out with him. It's a lot of fun. And I miss traveling for those events and those things, because some of those relationships that we built in Tunica with ACO and those days, man, still hold true. And there's a group of players that we were all there, man. If you weren't there in Tunica to see Isidro walk around in his cowboy boots, you don't know what cornhole is. You know what I mean?
That's
Isidro's one of my favorite people. And there's matches back in the day are just legendary, and they're a lot of fun and those things. And I wouldn't trade it now. The reason why I had to come on later is I was at batting practice with my son, and doing all those things. I wouldn't trade all this stuff. And so I've been very fortunate to help run TCL. and do those things. And so it's a lot of fun. I love it.
Yeah, man, we're all getting old. I mean, you still got young kids. My kids are getting old, man. I was just in Texas a few weeks ago for my son's Air Force graduation down in San Antonio. And
Awesome.
yeah, my youngest is about to go to basic training for the Army. So I'm about to be an empty nester, man. So I'll be traveling the country playing cornhole once again.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, I tell people all back in the day or now, you know what I mean? I started TCL when I was 29 years old, and it's kind of been like my whole life. You know what I mean? My son was just born. My 12-year-old was just born at that time. And so he's known nothing but dad does cornhole. And it's kind of funny there for the longest time. It's like, what does dad do? Oh, he runs cornhole. Well, he also runs a credit card processing company, has a heavy equipment company, you know what I mean? That has vacation rental properties, you know, help his wife with their real estate stuff. And so I do a lot of other things, man. I don't like to sit still. So I do a lot of different things, but it's fun and I love it. And it's great.
Yeah, man. You're in season 12 right now, right? Season 12 in the TCL.
Season 12. Yep. Season 12. We'll go out to Shreveport, $35,000 payout there. And then we'll come back. We got Signature Series 4. We're about to announce its location coming up. And then we got our league championship in Irving later on this summer. And then we're already working on next year's schedule to lock it down. We got some really cool venues I'm excited to have on next year's season. And we're looking for a wrinkle. We're thinking about starting our Ryder Cup closer to the beginning of the season to kind of get it going. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to it.
That would be pretty cool, man. You know how like NASCAR has Daytona, the first race of the year. Go ahead and start TCL off with a bang.
Start off, man. I mean, I'm hoping to be at 2,000 players at Ryder Cup this year. That's our goal. We're going to be at 2,000 players. That's where we want to kind of be, you know, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, look, man. Every once in a while, one of your pesky Texans text me to talk shit during basketball, football, whatever, man. But Chris Paul, good God, that's the buzzsaw. He will text me once a week, man, talking shit, talking about Duke sucks. Duke sucks. So I had to text him the other day and said, Texas Tech sucks. You know?
But he's an Aggie, and he's a Texas A&M Aggie. And what's cool about Chris Paul, man, if you ever watch him play a game, and you played against him quite a bit, man, he's always got the beer in hand. And he's always playing with Travis Welch. He's like, come on, 9. You got to hit it, 9. That hole don't move, man. You got to hit it now, 9.
Always talking about
Paul, man.
Always talking about he's going to buzzsaw somebody. I'm going to put you in the truck.
Put you in the truck.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look, Chad, if you want to travel to California, man, I need a partner for Spencer McKenzie. So, hey, man, come on out.
Hey, I might be able to this year. Last year, I was coaching Texas youth football, which, you know, we started 2 days back in August. I wasn't going to miss a game there, but I'm probably not going to be coaching this year, so I may be able to come. You know what I mean? This last year was a lot of fun. Got to coach my son's 6th grade football team and all that, and we had a blast, man. It was fun. We had our entire playbook was nothing but college hand signs. And literally, I could sit on the sideline and just throw up a hand sign. You know, this meant a play, or this meant a play, this meant a play. You know, this meant a play, this meant a play, and the kids all knew it. And we just ran no huddle, and it was great. A lot of fun.
You know what I heard works in Texas? A trash can in the dugout with a big like drumstick. Just hit it.
No, even better than that, what we use propane tanks. You get propane tanks and you blow them up, and they are loud, man. Team Yellow Jackets are known for that. Getting propane tanks and getting all that stuff done.
Oh, snap.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, bro, if you want to play, I got the entry.
Hey, man. Hey, I might be up to it. Send me details. I'm in.
All you got to do is get the ticket, and I'll split the hotel with you, and I got the ticket to enter the tournament. So,
you already have the tickets?
Yeah, I already bought them, man. They're sold out already.
I bought some a few years ago. Then I couldn't. Then COVID happened, and then I didn't even go last year. I was like, all right, I should just gave mine away. But yeah.
Well, I think did they sell out eventually, Rob? I think they had like 80 left.
Yeah, I haven't talked to John the last couple of days, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they're close.
Yeah. I know they're trying to get a crew cup. They were trying to fill 20 spots for the crew cup, I believe, but I don't know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Trying to get it all full, man. It's the biggest cornhole tournament. They say it is. There's going to be 1,024 teams, so
it's probably the
badass.
biggest outdoor cornhole tournament. But as far as
I'm gonna find out their number and we're gunning for them. I mean, I love it. I love what they do out there. It is probably my favorite event to kind of keep an eye on. I love Spencer McKenzie's and what they do out there, man. It is a phenomenal event. But we're coming for it. We're gonna end up hosting the largest cornhole tournament ever.
Well, I want to come to Texas and play again, man. So whenever you let the outsiders back in, let me know.
Hey, it's coming sooner than you think.
All right, bro. Rob, you got anything else, man?
No, man. Again, just like always, it's an honor to have you on here. Freaking unbelievable, running one of the biggest leagues in the nation. Fun to watch, fun to see.
Yeah,
I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on, man. It's really an honor, Bird. I love you as a friend, man. I appreciate everything that you've always done. And Rob, your creativity with cornhole is, revolutionized the game with the boardmen and how you did all that stuff. It's a true testament to your creativity and what you do, man. I love it.
Appreciate it, man.
Damn, Rob, we might have to cut that as a commercial, bro. That was nice. Well, hey, man.
Nice.
Hey, tell Jason I said what's up, man. He's still helping you out, right?
Yeah. He's still the angry little man.
I miss him so much.
He's definitely an angry little man. You know what I mean? He's definitely Jason. He's
a grass farmer. What do you want, bro?
Yeah. Hey. But I love Jason, man. I wouldn't do it with anybody else besides him. So
that's all we got. We'll see you next time on the sticky side. Hey, throw them straight. Peace.
Just to wanna be cornhole stars saying keep hotels and driving beat up cars. The crowd gets crazy and the beers ain't cheap. We get drunk all day, so we just don't eat, and we hang out at the local bar, throwing bags in the hole like we have it all.